The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Well, it is a big day for us here at the Huskers Radio Network as we welcome in the newest member of our broadcast team and the voice of Husker football, Kyle Crooks. And also, we're really excited to be bringing you his first official appearance here on the Huskers Radio Network tonight here on Sports Nightly. Kyle, welcome. It's official. Thank you for being here tonight.
It's amazing. The time is finally here, and I apologize. I don't have any red because where I'm coming from with the Florida Gators, the biggest rival is the Georgia Bulldogs, so we were sworn away from red for a long time. But now it's all I'm going to be wearing. So sorry I don't have any red on right now, but Jessica, it's an honor, obviously, with the announcement today, and I'm just grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for just the warm welcome from this fan base and boy, everybody that's helped me along the way. It's been an incredible journey that I'm sure we'll get through here on this chat. But this is a special place. What I've learned throughout this process, Jess, is this is a special place with special people, and it's a special broadcast as well. And I'm so grateful to play a part in it, and obviously the memory of Greg and what he meant to everybody around the state and Husker Nation, wherever Husker Nation resides and where they're listening. He meant so much to so many people, and I don't take that aspect of this lightly. He is a Husker. I tweeted it out before, Jess. He is a Husker legend forever, and I want to make him proud. I want to make everybody in Husker Nation proud.
Oh, great stuff there. Hey, you might not have any red. We'll get you fixed up, but at least you went with a black shirt, you know?
That's right.
I know you're learning all about that, right? As you learn about this defense.
That's
and
right.
You've already been prepping, I know. So at least you got the memo. If you don't have red, you can wear black for the black shirts.
That's right. You have to make it work. You know. But I can't wait for the Jessica Coody discount I get on all the Nebraska gear. I can't wait for that.
I got to find it. I got to figure out where it is and pass it along before I can find it. But they'll get you, Adidas will get you all fixed up. We got a great rep here. He is awesome. So you'll definitely get all the gear once you get here. But, well, I guess it's been a process, right? And I've been talking about it here on this show a lot. We've got a lot of questions about it. It's a huge job. There's been a lot of interest, not just from people that were hoping to maybe be in this job, that applied for this job across the country. That's been documented. But our listeners, I mean, this Huskers Radio means a lot to our fans here. And so we're excited to finally be able to answer that question. But what has been the process of learning just what this role means and just how big it is here to the Husker fans and the listeners here in the state?
Yeah, it's everything. Learning about how special radio is in Nebraska. You know, I told this to you, and I told this to just about everybody throughout the interview process, is Nebraska is one of a kind when it comes to the audio products, not just the massive radio station, right? The radio network, rather, but the amount of content that you're putting out and the family-like atmosphere that this entire network has. I had the chance to, chat with Damon Benning throughout the interview process and to see how special of a person and a personality he is, and get a chance to meet Ben McLaughlin and what he does, and everybody behind the scenes, and people at Playfly and Jason and Andy Waters at Playfly and Troy Dannon, and hear him talk about how special this role is and what Greg had meant in the year that he got a chance to know him. Doing the research, Jessica, you look at the consecutive streak of sellouts, no matter what the record is, no matter what Nebraska football might be going through at any point in time, people come from every area of the Nebraska state and surrounding states to watch Husker football, whether it's a season ticket demand for volleyball and selling out Memorial Stadium 92,000 for a volleyball match and setting records. Men's and women's basketball, the following that they have, softball coming off one of the best seasons in their program's history with, I'm somebody who came from Florida, worked a lot in softball with one of the best players in the history of the sport and Jordy Ball, and another year with Big Ten tournament magic for the baseball team as well. And to hear some of the great moments in all of these sports and understanding the trajectory now of where Nebraska football is going and the special leader they have and Coach Rule, I'm just really excited to be a part of it, because it is truly just an everything school that has, in my mind, in my research, the best radio product in the country, and some legends that have put on that headset for the radio network.
Let's go back to your beginnings. Let Husker Nation get to know you a little bit. Why did you want to become a play-by-play broadcaster?
So, it started way back when. I would say probably just in my Fisher-Price hoop in my living room when I was 8 to 10 years old. Wanted to be a shortstop for the Yankees. That didn't work. Wanted to be a NBA player. Turns out I'm about like 5'8" on a good day. So I wasn't going to be in the NBA, that's for sure. But I wanted to stay in it. Grew up listening to the New Jersey Nets. I grew up in New Jersey, spent most of my life there, and watching and listening to Ian Eagle, who's going to be on this show. And he was a huge part during this entire process. One of my biggest mentors, and what an incredible guy. So I grew up listening to him, and I grew up, the soundtrack of my summers were the New York Yankees, John Sterling on the radio. And as I got a little bit older, high school, college, I understood, okay, this is my way. This is my ticket in to stay in sports. So high school didn't do a whole lot with it. Then I went to college, and I grew up a massive sports talk radio fan, right? And I'm excited to get back into that aspect of it with Sports Nightly. But I grew up listening to Mike and the Mad Dog in New York City. They were on for 5.5 hours a day. And I was a lunatic. I would listen to all 5.5 hours, and that burned my passion for sports in me. And I knew I wanted to get into broadcasting specifically. And then in college, my mindset sort of shifted towards play-by-play. I went to a 4-year university after getting my associates at County College of Morris. I went to William Patterson University in Wayne, New Jersey, and there I was a sports director at the college radio station. It was the best experience of my life. I did football, men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball. And as you know, and as we all know, once you graduate and you get your degree, you got to figure out what to do next. So I was piecing it together, making it all happen. I was making, I don't know, $25-50 a game doing Division III in high school football. And, it's funny, the story I always tell, I would drive all the way out to Pennsylvania to call a game, and I'd spend $30 on gas, and they'd pay me $25 to do the game. So I was in a net negative. And that's sort of how I started out my career, doing Division III, high school football, anything I can get my hands on in just about every sport. Then I did a season in minor league baseball in Jacksonville, Florida, which was probably some of the toughest months of my life, 6 months where it was every single day. If anybody's ever worked in minor league baseball, it's a grind. I did that in Jacksonville, Florida. And then eventually this Florida gig came up, and I've been here now, just finished up my 8th year. I work on the football broadcast. I fill in on men's basketball, women's basketball, softball, baseball. I've done some gymnastics as well, and I've done radio and television play-by-play, and it's been an incredible 8 years, satisfying 8 years for me, and I just knew that I was ready for that next step, for the amount of work that I've put in, and specifically the amount of work I put in behind the scenes doing football. And some things that people might not know about me is I've done a lot of football coming up, high school, Division III, all that stuff that I mentioned. But I would spend just about every Saturday in the fall, every home game for Florida football, and I'd put together my massive spotting charts, right? And I'd bring an analyst into the booth. And for the last 8 years, I spent just about every Saturday in the swamp, along with working on our radio network coverage and doing some national radio play-by-play for football, doing just about every home game for the Florida Gators, and making sure my skills were sharpened for an opportunity just like this. And man, I couldn't be any more excited for it.
Yeah, you've definitely put in the work in that. I know we're going to talk to Ian Eagle here coming up in just a little bit, but who are some of the other influences and maybe mentors and people that have helped you along the way be prepared for this day here today?
Yeah, there's so many people, Jess, that have given me so much confidence doing this because, you could listen to yourself ad nauseum and not necessarily know if you're doing a good or a bad job. You need other ears and you need other people along the way to take a chance on you and to listen and give their time. And some of the other people that have kind of stuck their, taken their neck and putting it out there for me, Kevin Burkhardt of Fox Sports has called 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. And it's funny enough, it's a small industry, right? He went to the Division III school I went to, William Patterson University, and he spoke at my graduation. Of all the people that could have talked and had that commencement speech at my graduation, it was him. And he's the voice of the NFL on Fox now, and I'd say probably since 2014 or 15, he's been one of the main voices for me. We mentioned Ian, but Kevin Harlan as well has been somebody who has been so great to me. And man, I admire him just like anybody that you could imagine at the top of my list, because growing up listening to radio and being a radio nerd, Kevin Harlan on Monday Night Football on the radio is about as good as it gets. And I've had a chance for him probably over the last 5 or so years to become a mentor of mine. And Ryan Rackey, somebody who I've had the chance to call Sunday Night Football for Westwood One. I've had a chance to get to know a little bit more through my time going to the Women's College World Series. He calls that for national radio. So, man, it's hard to say everybody because you're going to leave some people out. But it just shows how special this industry and how caring this industry can be, because there's no possible way that I get a chance to be sitting here talking to you without any of those names that I listed in this industry.
I told you we should have started tracking your social media following, but just what has that been like? Just the response and I guess your growing number of social media followers, but again, just the people that care that you are the voice of Nebraska football.
Yeah, it's, I think I had about 100 followers in about 5 minutes. It's incredible. Jess, I was never popular in high school. I was never popular in college. So I guess it took me till I was 34 years old to be a little popular on social media. But no, it truly means how much they care about this job. And, it's an ambassador role, right? You are an extension of the athletic program that everybody puts their blood, sweat, and tears into. And that's why you understand the outpouring of followers and comments. And I'll say this, usually in most places when a newcomer comes in, there can be a heavy dosage of the negative. When I tell you it's been pretty much all just nice and positive to the point where it's almost been sort of shocking because people don't like change all that much, and I can truly understand that. But how nice and welcoming Husker Nation has been eye-opening, and it shows me just how much they welcome anybody in as their own, and I look forward to continuing to earn their trust.
Beyond just the duties behind the mic, how important is it for you to get here and get embedded in the community, to be a part, to be at events, to go to games that you're not calling, but just to really immerse yourself in this state? How important is that to you coming into it?
Yeah, it's everything, and that's such a huge part in this role is you have to be out there, you have to be talking to Husker fans. I encourage, if anybody sees me walking around the Haymarket area or at the grocery store and they want to chat and talk Husker football as we get set to ramp up fall camp here at the end of July. I love that aspect of it. I think that's why specifically we get into the college realm as opposed to maybe the pro realm, is because like I said, everything revolves around it. Community, everybody's 9 to 5. If they're working a 9 to 5, they just want to have the opportunity to maybe just chat some Huskers at any point during their day, and I'm an outlet for that. That's such a huge part of this, aside from calling games, is going out and seeing the people that are listening, seeing the people that are pouring in their hard-earned money into season tickets, who have tailgated for decades outside Memorial Stadium, that can teach me the traditions of a game day. Jess, I can't wait for that first home game. I know the first game is going to be in Arrowhead Stadium, and there's going to be a heavy influence of Husker fans in Kansas City. But I can't wait for that first true home game experience for me to see that sea of red and another sellout, and just to see truly how passionate everybody is around the community. But I can't wait to go out and talk to some groups and get a chance to hear their thoughts on, what Greg and other voices of the Huskers have meant to them. I'm grateful for those opportunities to get a chance to chat with everybody.
I know you've already been studying and diving into just this football team. What excites you about year 3 with Coach Rule and for you to get to call it?
Yeah, I can't wait. We know that the pattern and the trend of a third year under Coach Rule and what he had done at Temple and Baylor, and hoping it's a similar trend there. And obviously the uptick and getting a chance to win a bowl game and get to a bowl game, and the increase in wins, most wins since 2016. But you look at some of the new additions too, and you study this team very close, and you saw how they took the next step last year, and especially offensively. I'm excited to call touchdown passes. Dylan Raiola in his second year as a sophomore, and you take the lumps as a true freshman, right? But you saw towards the end he was starting to tick back up after that sort of the doldrums of the middle of the season that Nebraska had last year. Excited for some of the new additions on this offensive line and on the outside as well. Dane Key's a guy just that I had a chance to see up close and personal when he was playing Florida as a Kentucky Wildcat, and Isaiah Hunter as well entering in, Ja'Cory Barney as well, coming off a great season. You look at the defense as well, all 3 levels, especially in that secondary, a lot of returners that I think can really help continue the momentum of what was one of the best defensive units in the Big Ten last year. So there's so much to dive into. As my first show here on Sports Nightly officially would be on July 7th, but I can't wait to actually get out and see the guys in fall camp and see practice and get around to all these other events and see all of the practices in the fall season. And I think Nebraska football is trending upward, and I just can't wait for August 28th, I believe it is, against Cincinnati in that first game.
You hit on this a little bit, but you got a sense of meeting the team here and working with Damon Benning in the booth. Obviously, he's a pretty well-liked guy around here and is a veteran also. How nice is that to know just the guy that you're going to be working alongside and just the people, I guess, that have been here and been around that you get to join this team? How comforting is that?
Yeah, that helps a lot. Leaning on somebody like you that's been around Nebraska football and has been around all of the athletic teams. When I have a question, I know that there's a good chance you're probably going to have an answer. And I'll tell this story during my interview process. We could be wound a little tight when you're driving into interview for this dream opportunity. And Damon was somebody who gave me a phone call and encouraged me. And I remember when I met with Troy Dannon in his office, I had mentioned he talked about the humble aspect of everybody that works within Nebraska athletics and the fan base. Nobody is about themselves. They're about the logo. And then I had that conversation with Damon, and I could see exactly what Troy was talking about. He was so incredibly encouraging, telling me to be myself. And, he listened to the demos and loved what I had done at Florida. And it was like he was my hype man over the phone before I had the chance to interview. And I've had the chance to text with him a little bit after, knowing that I had gotten the job. And everything I need to know about this broadcast team being a family is the interaction that I've had with DB and the interactions I've had with you. And I look forward to seeing Ben again, and had a chance to meet him briefly and meet Matt and meet Kent and John Baylor on volleyball, and look forward to being to some of those crazy volleyball matches here in the fall. And Nick as well, calling baseball. Ben and Nick doing a great job calling baseball, and some of the memories that they have created together in the booth. And the foundation of it all is what Greg had fostered for 17 seasons, right? A place where everybody can feel like themselves, everybody feels valued, and they all collectively feel like a family. And that's why, to me, the most comforting part of this crazy chapter in my life, and I hope it's the final chapter in my broadcasting life, is that I know I'm stepping into an opportunity where everybody is family and everybody has everybody else's back. And that means the world to me, and it's part of why this is the best radio product in college sports.
I love to hear that. Hey, I think, maybe one of the biggest questions that people might have, I mean, being that you are younger and just where you are in your career, what makes you ready for this job and to be able to handle the role that is, the voice here with Nebraska and, taking on all the responsibilities that come along with it? What makes you ready for all of it?
Yeah, I answered that question too in the interview process, but for me, it's been 15 years of going through becoming a better broadcaster, evaluating myself on a year-to-year basis, what works, what doesn't work. Some of the mentors that I had mentioned throughout the years, this has been a constant process of improvement for me. And, specifically for football, I've done every single level. I've done games where I've been on top of the press box. I think I told this during my interview. I was on top of the press box calling Division III football, Jess, and it was 36 to 30, like low 30s, right? Wintry mix in Northeast Pennsylvania, where the team I'm calling is losing by a considerable amount, and you could hear my teeth chattering on the air. Those are the moments that I go back to, that no matter what the pay was, what the scenario was, what the experience was, I took the lumps along the way. And I feel confident coming into this role, because I think whoever steps in for Greg, there needs to be an air of confidence. But you also need to understand there is a lot to learn in this specific role, right? But I feel I have all the tools and 15 years of experience and the 8 here that I've been in Gainesville as I get set to leave here, in a few days, that has set me up for success. I've done, the emceeing, the community events, and the play-by-play. Everything's been checked off the list, but now it's just getting a chance to learn a new fan base. I think that is probably the hardest part of it all, is just making sure that I'm doing justice for this fan base and giving them the best possible game call that I can. And for me, that's been 15 years, hopefully leading up to continuing this tradition of one of the best radio broadcasts in college.
Well, we all have faith in you. We know you're the guy to do it. We were sold on you really from the beginning, so we're excited to have you on board. Before I let you go, we have this YouTube stream that we have lots of regulars on the chat. I know you become aware because you've been hanging out in there. They just don't know that you've been there. So you're going to be interacting with them too, right?
Yes, I'll be in the chat. I'll be saying hello to everybody if anybody has any questions. I know in the meantime, Jessica's going to be getting me all this brand new Nebraska Adidas gear that I need, so I can, for future appearances on Sports Nightly, I'll have my red get-up and everything ready to go for the next time that you see me on camera. But yes, ask me any questions, and I look forward to chatting and mixing it up in the chat. For sure.
Well, one for you that we already got was, why don't you have a handicap for them to make fun of on the GHIN tracker that you update all your scores every time you go out and golf? Why don't you have one of those? They want to know.
Well, funny story. So I was the captain of my golf team in high school, Pequannock High School, and I had a terrible senior year. And when golf gets in your head, you're done. And for me, so I have not golfed since my senior year of high school, 2009. So I think that's probably going to change here. I know we have an entire broadcast team of big time golfers. So I think I'm gonna bring the sticks back out. I need a brand new set of clubs though. So I'm hopeful that maybe I get a good set and you give me a good course, and I can get that handicap in a pretty good spot.
There's lots of great courses here in Nebraska. I can't say that. Hey, you're going to be packing up, moving in. Your first weekend here is 4th of July weekend. I'm just warning you, Nebraskans love their fireworks. It is going to be loud for several days in a row from sunup to... Actually, it doesn't stop. It's basically 72 hours straight. Are you prepared for that?
I'm ready to go. I get my headphones and just kind of cover the years, but I'm all for the celebration. I look forward to spending Lincoln, the 4th of July in Lincoln. I'm sure there's nothing better. So I'm really excited for that aspect. What a way to debut. The debut weekend for me in Lincoln is 4th of July, so I can't wait.
I know your first official day here is July 7th, so we'll look forward to seeing you actually here in person coming up here in about a couple weeks. So thank you and congratulations again. Welcome to the team. We can't wait to have you here.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to getting there and being a part of the family. This Husker family means everything to me. And also congratulations to you, to your Oklahoma City Thunder
yes.
NBA champions. So congratulations.
Thank you. Big day for me here today. And you know the sign off, right? You know that yet?
Go Big Red?
Yes, got it. Nailed it.